It was a regular afternoon at the bank when a black woman walked in wearing a pair of sneakers and a simple outfit. She approached the counter with confidence, but the staff barely glanced at her before exchanging mocking smiles. One of them whispered something, and soon quiet laughter filled the air. They assumed she didn't belong. Maybe she didn't look the part. But this wasn't just any ordinary customer. What they didn't know was that the woman standing before them held a title that would leave them speechless. As the minutes passed, the condescending looks and dismissive tone only grew worse. But instead of reacting to their behavior, she calmly asked to speak with the branch manager. What followed was a twist no one in that room saw coming. A revelation so shocking it wiped the smirks off their faces in an instant. Stay tuned to hear what happened next. The manager arrived, looking puzzled by the commotion, but maintaining a professional demeanor. The woman smiled politely and introduced herself, but her calmness seemed to irritate the staff even more. They couldn't understand why someone dressed so casually would request a private meeting with the branch manager. Whispers grew louder as the staff speculated about her intentions. Was she lost? Did she even have an account here? While waiting, the woman observed the judgmental stares and subtle smirks. It wasn't the first time she had experienced this kind of treatment, but today she decided to let their assumptions run their course. She glanced around the room, noticing their disbelief and curiosity growing. What they didn't know was that she wasn't here for a loan or to cash a check. She had a much bigger reason, a reason tied directly to the bank's future. The tension in the room was palpable. Something big was about to happen. The manager led her into his office, closing the door behind them. Outside, the staff exchanged curious looks, their imaginations running wild. Some speculated she was here to complain. Others assumed she was in trouble. Meanwhile, in the office, the woman's calm demeanor didn't waver. She sat across from the manager, who was still trying to piece together why she had requested this meeting. As she began to speak, she pulled out a sleek folder from her bag, placing it carefully on the desk. The manager glanced at it, his expression shifting slightly. "I'm here because I believe there's an opportunity for us to work together," she said, her tone measured and professional. The manager frowned in confusion, clearly not expecting this. Before he could respond, she opened the folder, revealing documents that carried a level of authority no one in the building could ignore. Meanwhile, outside the office, the whispers grew louder. The staff was still laughing, blissfully unaware of the shockwave that was about to ripple through their workplace. The manager's eyes widened as he scanned the documents. Each page seemed to deepen his confusion, then his realization. Across the desk, the woman remained composed, watching his reaction closely. This can't be right," he stammered, flipping through the papers again to double-check. "Your her asterisk," he asked, his voice a mix of surprise and disbelief. She nodded with a small smile, her confidence unwavering. Outside, the staff had stopped pretending to work. They craned their necks, trying to catch any sign of what was happening behind the closed door. The laughter had died down, replaced by curiosity and unease. Something about her presence suddenly felt different, but they couldn't figure out why. Inside the office, the manager finally broke the silence. "I had no idea," he admitted, his tone almost apologetic now. But the woman wasn't finished. She leaned forward slightly, her voice firm yet calm. "That's exactly the problem," she said. The tension in the room was electric, and the staff outside had no clue they were moments away from learning the truth that would leave them stunned. The manager was still processing her words when she calmly pulled out another set of documents from her bag. She slid them across the desk, her expression unreadable. "This isn't just a business proposal," she said, her tone carrying an edge now. "It's also a review of how this branch operates. I've been monitoring your team for weeks." The manager froze, his earlier confidence shaken. "Monitoring?" he echoed, his voice uncertain. Meanwhile, the staff outside started to feel the weight of their earlier behavior. They noticed the manager's voice drop to a serious tone, and whispers turned to silence. No one dared to laugh now. The woman continued, her voice steady but firm. Your staff's actions reflect directly on this institution, and unfortunately, what I've witnessed isn't acceptable. The way I was treated today only confirms what I already suspected. The manager's face turned pale as he realized this wasn't just another meeting. It was an evaluation with consequences far bigger than he imagined. The manager sat back, overwhelmed as the weight of her words sank in. I had no idea this was happening, he said, scrambling to defend the branch. But the woman raised a hand, stopping him mid-sentence. You didn't know because you never looked, she said firmly. But I did. And as the CEO of this company, it's my job to make sure every customer feels valued, no matter how they look, dress, or walk in. The room outside fell silent as the staff overheard her words, their faces draining of color. The realization hit them like a tidal wave. This wasn't just a random customer. She was the CEO of the entire corporation. The same woman they mocked and dismissed now had the power to decide their future. Just when the tension seemed unbearable, she stood up and added one final twist. I'm not here to fire anyone, she said, turning to the manager. I'm here to see if this branch is ready to change for good. Her words carried both a warning and an opportunity, leaving the staff stunned as they reflected on the lesson of the day. The room was heavy with silence as the woman walked out of the manager's office, her presence commanding attention. The staff quickly straightened up, their earlier smugness replaced with nervous glances. She paused for a moment, looking around the room, then spoke calmly but firmly. How you treat people matters. Respect isn't about appearances, it's about character. Today, I hope you learned that. Her words lingered as she headed for the door, leaving the staff to reflect on their actions. The manager followed, his demeanor humbled, promising to implement changes and ensure the branch upheld the company's values. As she stepped outside, the woman smiled to herself. This wasn't just about teaching a lesson, it was about creating lasting change. She had challenged their assumptions and planted the seed for something better. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come from the most unexpected encounters. The bank would never be the same again.